Ever wonder what it's like to have a learning disability? Try this exercise, post a video, and then get a sheet of paper and a pen and then prepare to write.
Which hand do you write with? Use the other one to copy this sentence. The moon shone brightly through the window and cast light on all of the various objects the old woman had collected throughout her life. Stop. Time's up. Turn your paper over so you can't read it. Do you remember the sentence you copied? How did you feel while you were writing? How does your hand feel? Now on the back, take a minute to write a descriptive sentence. Using at least 2 adjectives, describe the view out your bedroom window. Stop. Time's up. What do you think of your sentence? What problems appear in your writing? What grade would you give yourself based on your work? This is the kind of struggle 3 million U.S. children face in school every day.
When you have a learning disability, doing the same schoolwork as the other kids can be much harder. Kids with learning disabilities need our understanding and our support. Will you lend a hand? Good morning, everyone. We are the group 2 and we are going to discuss our topic today. So first, as we go on our discussion, I want you all to think of a person that is having trouble with processing information, organizing information, and having trouble of applying information onto their brain. And I want you all to think that that person is you. And I have a question. My question is, if you were that person and having that kind of disability, will you be able to overcome and manage that disability that you have? First is, what is learning disability? Learning disability, often referred to as hidden disability, is a neurological disorder resulting from difference in the way a person's brain is wired. Individuals are usually assessed as learning disabled after they start having problems in school. These individuals face difficulties in reading, writing, reasoning, and recalling. In fact, they often find it difficult to focus on one activity because they may be attention deficit, hyperactive, and easily distractible. They have language processing difficulties and find it challenging to understand and interpret oral as well as visual messages. They often reverse similar-looking numbers and alphabets. The disability causes these individuals to have an average level of fine motor coordination, lacking organizational skills, and an unclear sense of left-right and up-down orientations. Struggling to cope with multiple issues on a daily basis, children with learning disability suffer a lot of pain at emotional, social, and behavioral levels. There are different kinds of learning disabilities, but we focus on these 3.
First, there's dyslexia, which is difficulty with reading. Then there's dysgraphia, which is difficulty with writing. And dyscalculia, which is difficulty with mathematics. Now, dyslexia affects both oral and written communication throughout an individual's life. These individuals often have trouble identifying letters or words, and that can result in slow inaccurate, and effortful reading. This often becomes obvious when a person with dyslexia is reading aloud, because they might have to hesitate or guess at words, and they might end up reading without normal intonation or expression. Dyslexia can also cause difficulty with spelling, because a person might add or omit letters by mistake. All this effort with reading means that individuals might also have a hard time understanding what they've read, sometimes missing the deeper meaning of a passage, forgetting the right sequence of events, or being unable to make inferences about what they've read. Now, dysgraphia describes having trouble with writing, specifically poor spelling and difficulty with grammar. Oftentimes, they also have poor handwriting, even though they don't have trouble with other fine motor skills, like, for example, using a tweezers. These individuals might mix print and cursive writing, or misuse upper and lowercase letters, and as a result, their writing is often slow and labored, causing them to get writing fatigue. Dysgraphia can also involve more global writing problems, like having difficulty putting thoughts down on paper, or thinking and writing at the same time, which, as you might guess, leads to writing that lacks clarity and cohesion. Finally, there's dyscalculia, which is where individuals have a poor understanding of numbers, like their magnitude or their relationship to each other. The most common problem is with number sense, and this is an intuitive understanding of how numbers work, and how to compare and estimate quantities on a number line. These individuals often struggle to memorize math facts, like formulas and equations, which makes it really hard for them to manipulate numbers and solve math problems. In general, these individuals struggle to follow mathematical reasoning. They often misunderstand the logic behind steps and therefore have to rely heavily on rote memory. Over time, this difficulty can cause related problems, like not being able to easily measure out ingredients for a recipe, or feeling uncomfortable reading graphs and charts. One important thing to keep in mind for all these learning disorders is that they're not due to a lack of intelligence or desire to learn. And with the right teaching methods, individuals can master all these skills. These individuals with learning disorders often benefit from small modifications to the normal instruction that takes their disability into account. For example, individuals with mild or moderate learning disabilities might benefit from untimed tests, oral testing, or other alternatives to written assignments, like video reports. Individuals with dyslexia might also benefit from having text printed in a specific font, while individuals with dysgraphia often benefit from wide-ruled paper or certain pencil grips. For dyscalculia, playing math-based games and using physical objects that relate to the real world, like using buttons in place of numbers, can help to develop and cultivate a more intuitive feel for numbers. In most of these situations, individuals might benefit from having extra time to practice specific skills, or with one-on-one tutoring. Alright, as a quick recap, specific learning disorders are a group of disorders that include difficulty with reading, writing, and mathematics, called dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia, respectively. They're often diagnosed in the early school years, and are not due to a lack of intelligence or desire to learn, but they can be improved with the use of specific teaching interventions.
What causes learning disabilities? The exact causes of learning disabilities are still unknown. Kind of like why apartments are called apartments when they are all stuck together. Lack of motivation or poor teaching doesn't cause a learning disability, but can make things more difficult, sort of like pushing a stone up a hill. Advancements in brain imaging have shown that a learning disability is actually a neurological condition. Learning disabilities can run in families, and about 1 out of every 10 people live with a learning disability. That's 10%! And that number may be higher still, making learning disabilities the most common form of any disability. Learning disabilities often coexist with other neurological and health conditions, with ADHD being the most common. 50% or more people with a learning disability also have ADHD. Language issues, sensory processing disorder, Tourette syndrome, anxiety, and challenges with planning and time management can also coexist with a learning disability.
So, let's move on the signs and symptoms of learning disabilities at the preschool age. Problems pronouncing words, trouble finding the right word, difficulty rhyming, trouble learning the alphabet, numbers, colors, shapes, and days of the week, and also difficulty following directions or learning new things. These are the signs and symptoms of learning disabilities at the preschool age. Is the signs and symptoms of learning disabilities at the age of 5 to 9. trouble learning the connection between letters and sounds, unable to blend sounds to make words, confuses basic words when reading, slow to learn new skills, consistently misspells words and makes frequent errors, and also trouble learning basic math concepts is the signs and symptoms of learning disabilities at the age of 10 to 13. First is difficulty with reading comprehension or math skills, trouble with open-ended test questions and word problems, dislikes reading and writing, avoids reading aloud, poor handwriting, poor organizational skills, and trouble following classroom discussions and expressing thoughts aloud, spells the same word differently in a single document.
Good morning everyone, my name is Jessica Castardo and I'm going to continue our report. Other disorders that make learning difficult. Difficulty in school doesn't always stem from a learning disability. Anxiety, depression, stressful events, emotional trauma, and other conditions affecting concentration makes learning more of a challenge. In addition, ADHD and autism sometimes co-occur or are confused with learning disabilities. If a child is having difficulty in learning, that does not always mean that it's all because of his learning disability. Sometimes, learning disability accompanied by mental illness affects the concentration of a child to learn. Imagine, maglisod na sila og na sila learning disability daan. How much more nga napa sila mental illness, diba? It's a challenge for them. It's a big challenge for them. Kaya imagine kita gani nga walay disability. If ma-stress ta or ma-depress ta, maglisod am kita focus sa usa ka butang, diba? How much more sila? Getting help for children with learning disabilities. When it comes to learning disabilities, it's not always easy to know what to do and where to find help. Turning to specialists who can pinpoint and diagnose the problem is of course important. You will also work with your child's school to make accommodations to get a specialized academic help. But don't forget your own rule. You know your child better than anyone else. So take the lead in looking into your options, learning about new treatments and services. Soon we will become parents too, and puhon si makulang basin ang ato mga anak is na ay learning disability. So as parents, kita na ay mas dako nga rule sa pagtabang nila. Aside sa pagpa-consult nila sa mga specialist or pag-coordinate sa ilang school, kita mangita tag-way sa pagtabang nila. Kay we know them very well. We witness them grow. Kita mas naghaibota kung sa ilang personality, sa ilang behavior. So as parents, let's take our part in helping them. Getting help with children with learning disabilities. First, learn the specifics of your child's learning disabilities. It means that as a parent, you need to know what types of learning disability your child has. And then, hibaw-an mo kung unsa siya nga type. For example, dyslexia. You need to research about dyslexia. What is dyslexia all about? Unsay characteristics anang dyslexia? Unsay behavior na gipossess sa child na ay dyslexia. And para makahibaw ka kung unsay imong mga treatment na buhaton. Second, research treatments, services, and new theories. So after knowing your child's type of learning disability, proceed on researching kung unsa nga treatments ang imong mahatag or imong buhaton para sa imong child. Third, pursue treatments and services at home.
So, good morning everyone. I am John Christopher Argrami and I'm here to report the strategies for helping the kids with working memory difficulties. Show kids what to do more than once. So by doing it, you will help the kid with memory difficulty to memorize it quickly by repeating it. So break tasks into individual steps So for a kid with a memory difficulty, it's very difficult for them. So you should divide the task step by step in a simple way. Keep rules directly short, simple, and clear. By doing that, it will help the kid process more accurately because you keep it simple, short, and clear. Strategies for helping kids with slow processing. Provide additional time to complete work. Build in resource time to complete classwork. Provide notes or photocopies of lecture materials where possibly. Be specific, telling kids exactly what you want them to do. Directly assist kids in beginning activity. Prevalence of learning disabilities. Your chance of knowing someone with learning disabilities are very good. Currently, almost 2.9 million school-aged children in the United States are classified as having specific learning disabilities and receive some kind of special education support. In fact, over half of all children who receive a special education have learning disabilities. They are approximately 5% of all school-aged children in public schools. Recommendation: how can we help students understand their own learning disabilities? How could we help them speak comfortably about them and advocate for themselves? These questions have been challenging educators for a long time. However, when students own their learning strengths and weaknesses, they can do a better job of learning academic skills. Over the past years, many students have experienced entirely virtual and remote learning, and many, especially students with disabilities, will need additional support, time, and teaching to get the high-quality education they deserve.
Are you all guys familiar with the movie Every Child is Special? Here's some clips of it, which it is one of the example of learning disability, so watch this.
Why can't you? Idiot! Why can't you?
You rose खाते डंडा
Grammar pathetic and spelling all wrong. अक्षर जो नाचे क्या खाई है ना? Idiot! Jafar! Lazy! Crazy! Idiot! Hey, Jafar! Lazy!
क्यों भाषा खराब क्यों ना देते जवाब
क्यों करती नहीं try? Why? But why can't you?
वर्दी क्यों होमवर्क अधूरा क्यों ध्यान नहीं पूरा This child can drive anybody mad. Someone please call up his dad.
तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है बेटा?
मूर्ख शिरोमणि क्यों नकारा सिखा क्यों पढ़ती नहीं साहब ज्योग्राफी में गोल गोल